Well, hello there folks, happy Thursday to you. It's lovely to see you again as usual, and thanks for popping over just to see what I've got for you today, and I do hope that I find you very well indeed. So today for you I've got these wonderful Bakewell tarts. I've made 12 of these, so this recipe will give you 12 to 13 tarts. A Bakewell tart is basically a sweet shortcrust pastry, and inside you've got a layer of jam, a layer of almond frangipane, and you've also got a layer of white almond icing. This is everything that I've used here, but as usual, all of the ingredients will be in the description box down below. So I've got some shortcrust pastry, some ground almonds, icing sugar, I've got some unsalted butter, I've got 1 egg, I've got some jam, that's cherry jam, glassy cherries, and also some almond extract and some milk as well. The pastry I'm using is from Aldi. If you're good at your own shortcrust pastry, go ahead, and if you've got a spare week to make it, then that's fine. I just don't have the patience for pastry, and the Aldi one, in my opinion, is the best, and I've used most of them by now. This is the jam that I'm using here. This is cherry jam, but you can use raspberry, strawberry, whatever you like. And these are the glassy cherries. You're going to want 6 of these and just chop them in half. There are lots of different foil cases you can use. You've got the really deep fill ones, which I use for mince pies, or the shallow ones. I would recommend going with the shallow ones. And you're also going to need a cookie cutter just to cut out your pastry slightly bigger than the top of the cases that you're using. If you're not using cases, you can of course use a muffin tin or a cupcake tin. So the first thing you want to do is roll out your pastry. Just make sure your pastry is sitting at room temperature for 10 to 15 minutes before you start, and it will roll out much easier without all those nasty cracks that you can get. So just go all over your pastry and stamp out as many cases as you can, and then just take away the excess pastry, and you can use this for something else, and it does freeze really well as well. I wouldn't recommend re-rolling it and cutting it out again because it wouldn't be very nice, but you can use it for other things. So you just want to lift one of your discs, place it on top of your case, and then find something blunt and pointy. The end of a rolling pin, is absolutely ideal, and it will just push your pastry into place exactly where you want it. Just be gentle and it will slip in really, really easily. Just like this. This was a wee hack that I seen on someone else's video, so yeah, really glad that I found this, because it saves you tearing the pastry with your fingernails or with your hands, and as you can see, it goes in really nicely. You could spend a bit of time on this and get them perfect, but they don't need to be perfect. So just pop this into the fridge until you make your frangipane filling. So grab yourself a large bowl. To this we're going to add the unsalted butter. You can use salted if you prefer. And then with a hand mixer, you just want to beat this for about a minute or a minute and a half, just to soften it up to prepare for the rest of your ingredients. So on top of this, I'm going to put my caster sugar. You can use ordinary white granulated sugar if you prefer. And then my ground almonds on top of that, and then 1 large egg on top of that. For extra almondiness, I'm going to pop in 1 teaspoon of this almond extract. And then you just want to beat everything together just for about a minute, just until everything is nicely combined and comes together. Just like this. The last thing I like to do is, with anything like this, is just go round with a spoon or a spatula, just to make sure you haven't missed anything in the bottom of the bowl, and it's nice and combined like this. So I'm going to pop this into a piping bag. The easiest way I've found of doing this is just popping your piping bag over a glass, and then just filling your bag, and it keeps upright, nice and stable. And then just gather the top, give it a wee shake, and that is ready for later on. All you have to do is snip the end off of your bag. So get your cases back out the fridge, and we're going to put about half a teaspoon of jam in the bottom of each of these cases. Don't be tempted to overfill these, or your jam could bubble up over your frangipane, and that would be a nightmare. So just a wee drop in the bottom. Make sure it's nice and even and not coming up the sides too much. So something like this is ideal. Then we're going to go in with the frangipane. Like I said, just snip the end off of your bag. You want to do a nice blob in each of your cases. Don't worry if it's not coming to the edge, because we're just going to use our finger to push this to the edge. You want this nice and sealed all the way around to act as a bit of a barrier, you know, between that and the jam, because like I said, you don't want the jam to come up the sides over the top. So pop this into the oven for about 20 minutes, gas mark 4 or 180°, just until they're starting to go toasty on the top. You don't want these too brown on the top because you don't want them crispy, because that would completely change the texture. You still want them nice and soft. So pop them onto a wire rack, and you want to allow these to cool for, you know, a couple of hours probably. You do want them completely cool so you put your icing on. It doesn't go sliding all over the place. So get your icing sugar, and to this you want to add a couple of tablespoons of milk. You just add what you need. You might not need as much as that. And then about half a teaspoon of almond extract again, just to make it extra almondy. But your end result for your icing should be lovely and thick. You know, you don't want it too runny, like I said. So you might need to add less milk or more icing sugar to get it to this consistency. So grab one of your tarts, and it should have flattened down a wee bit, you know, that your topping should have flattened down a wee bit. But if yours is still really domed, if it's cooked really well and it's still really domed, you can push it down with your finger really gently to give you more of a flat and even surface in preparation for your icing, because you do want these nice and flat on the top. So just grab about half teaspoon or a teaspoon of your icing, start in the middle and just pull it out towards you to the edge of your pastry, and it won't go any further if you're careful with it. And I was really happy with this. You can add more icing if you prefer. Give it a wee tap and it will even out nicely on the top. And the last thing you want to do is add half of one of those glossy cherries, and just look how perfect these are. This is the first time I've made these, you know, so if I can do these like this, so can you, because I am in no way a baker or anything like that. Like I said, this is the first time attempt, but I'm really happy about how these came out, and I will show you what they're like inside as well. And if you want to store these, you can store these in an airtight container for a few days, and you can also freeze these as well. And this is what they look like inside, and you can see that jam in the bottom, your lovely Frangipane filling, and that almond icing on the top, and of course your wee cherry. And it does have to be glassy cherries because it's the law. So yeah, I do hope you give these a go. They were lots of fun actually, and a lot easier to make than you would think. So do let me know if you're planning on giving them a go. And a huge thank you, just before I go, to the supporters of the channel over on Patreon, and to the channel members here as well. And I do have to update those lists, so if your name's not there, don't panic. I just haven't get round to it yet, but I will over the next few days. And for you all for watching, leaving your lovely comments, and for those that share the videos as well, it's all very much appreciated. And I will catch up with you during the week for another wee recipe, back on Saturday for our shopping unbagging, or back on Sunday for our family meals of the week. But whenever you choose to join me again, have a wonderful rest of your day and rest of your week, and I'll catch you off us soon back here on What's for Tea. Take care. Bye for now. Bye now.